If your backyard looks like what you just saw on the left side of my thumbnail, you're in the right place. I've had my house for 5 years, and for the first couple of those years, I was genuinely winging it, cutting the grass, watering it, wondering why it still looked rough. And then I started actually applying the things my grandpa used to tell me, and it changed everything. My grandpa, I called him Papa, had the best yard on the block. Every single summer, like a golf course. His yard was his pride and joy, and when I was little, I got to help him take care of it. He'd put me in this little work Carhartt jumpsuit and let me do stuff with him. Chopping wood, cleaning, working the yard. He made it fun. He passed last year, and there's still days when I reached for my phone to call him, but when I bought my first house, one of the first things I did was bring him over to walk the yard with me because I wanted him to see me taking care of something, the way he showed me how. Every time I'm out here cutting my grass now, I feel him. I hear the jokes he'd make. I can hear him telling me I'm taking too long. So today, I'm passing on what he taught me. 5 things every new homeowner needs to know about their lawn, straight from Papa, with a few things I figured out on my own along the way. Let's get into it. Tip number 1 is to fertilize. Like seriously. The number 1 thing my grandpa drilled into me was that you cannot just cut and water your grass and expect it to stay green. You have to fertilize. If you skip it, your grass will eventually turn brown and it sneaks up on you. One day it looks fine, a few weeks later you're standing in your backyard like, what happened? What also happens when you don't fertilize is that weeds move in. Weeds eat up all the nutrients your grass isn't getting, and then your grass doesn't stand a chance. My grandpa used Scott's fertilizer, and that's what I use. I buy it in bulk. In order for me to fertilize both my front and backyards, it takes about 1 bag of Scott's fertilizer. Here's the thing that most people miss. Read the actual instructions on the bag. I know that sounds obvious, but people don't do it. The bag tells you when to apply, how much to use, and to cut your grass high, which we'll get into that. Fertilize every 2 to 3 months during the growing season. My grandpa always said grass is resilient. You could probably stretch it to 6 months as long as you're still cutting and watering, but the weeds will come and your grass will lose color. One more thing. If you don't have a sprinkler system yet, fertilize the day before it rains. It's free irrigation. And if your grass is already brown, do not panic. I brought completely dead grass back just by fertilizing correctly and following the instructions on the back of the bag. Give it 2 to 3 months. You will see the green come back. Tip number 2, if your yard has hills, get a self-propelled mower. This one I learned the hard way. My grandpa had a way bigger property and his yard had hills and tilts everywhere. As he got older, he switched to a self-propelled lawnmower and he kept telling me to get one. I didn't listen. I bought this green Ryobi, which is fine. It does the job. But my backyard sits on a little bit of a slant. And pushing a regular mower up that hill in Seattle, summer heat, is not fun. A self-propelled mower is like an e-bike, but for your lawn. It gives you assistance, so you're not fighting gravity the whole time. And it's not as much more expensive as you think. Probably $100 to $200 over a standard mower maybe. I don't know the exact number, but it's not crazy. If your yard has any kind of slope, just get the self-propelled one. You'll thank yourself every weekend. My grandpa used to have a red Toro he was so proud of. I went with him to buy it as a kid, and I got just as excited as he was. He'd let me start it, and I used to think that was the coolest thing in the world. But get the right tool for your yard. He said that to me all the time. And for my yard, which I would say is a medium-sized yard, also we're not in the 1990s or 1980s anymore, I have a good old electric Ryobi mower. Tip number 3, it's going to be the weed whacker over the edger every time. When I first got my house, I was convinced I needed an edger. I don't know why, but weed whackers felt like the budget option to me, and edgers made me feel more serious. My grandpa set me straight. Here's the difference. A weed whacker trims your grass. If you mess up the line, it grows back in a week or two, no big deal. An edger cuts a hard line into the ground. It's actually removing the earth. If you edge wrong or go too far, you're permanently changing the shape of your lawn, and that section is not coming back the same. My grandpa always said, weed whack. It's forgiving and it keeps things clean without the risk. I have both now. You know how many times I've used the edger in 2 years? Once. And it was literally to cut out a section of grass I was removing to lay beauty bark. That's the only use case I've used it for. So save your money. Get a weed whacker. That's your workhorse. Oh, and wear protective glasses when you weed whack. I know you may think that you don't need them, but 100% of the time I use my weed whacker, which is usually once every week or two at a minimum, debris does fly into my face every single time, I promise you. Yes, you'll look a little funny, but you'll still have both eyes. So you could just take them off when you're done weed whacking and when you're ready to mow your grass, if that's your preference. Tip number 4 is to cut your grass high, especially in the summer. This one is actually on the back of the Scott's fertilizer bag, but I want you to hear it from a real person too. In the summer, cut your grass high. I know it feels wrong. You think cutting it short means less mowing. Maybe you think it looks nicer, but when you cut it too short in summer heat, you're removing the shade your grass gives itself, and the sun just destroys it. The taller your grass, the deeper the roots, and deeper roots mean healthier grass. Starting around April, I bump my mower height up. I leave it there through the summer, and I cut at least once a week, sometimes once every 2 weeks. If you let it go 3 or 4 weeks in the summer, it gets out of control fast, and then you've got a project instead of a quick Saturday chore. Quick thing I learned on my own, if your grass does get out of control, try weed whacking it down before you panic. Weed whackers can handle a lot of overgrowth. Weed whack first and then mow. That fixes it more often than you think. Also, you need some kind of irrigation in the summer. It doesn't have to be a full built-in system. I use an oscillating sprinkler, but your grass needs consistent water, especially when you're fertilizing. So don't fertilize and then not water it because it won't work and it'll actually damage your grass. And then tip number 5 would be edge your grass first, like weed whack first and shape up your grass first, then mow and then blow. This is the order of operations. Once I started doing it this way, everything clicked. And I would say this lesson from my papa has saved me the most time and efficiency. So step 1 is to weed whack first before you touch the mower. Why? Because when you weed whack, debris goes everywhere, onto your driveway, your sidewalks, your flower beds, or your mulch beds. If you mow first and then weed whack, you've made a mess over your clean lawn. So weed whack first and then let the debris fall where it falls. And then step 2 is to mow. And here's the extra tip inside the tip. Run your mower with the bag attached every other time. So one mow with the bag on, collecting the clippings, and then the next time you mow your grass, take off the bag and let the clippings fall back into the grass as fertilizer. Do that twice before putting the bag back on. Grass clippings are basically free mulch. They add nutrients back into the soil, and so my Ryobi actually came with a mulch attachment for exactly this. So bag on, bag off, and then bag on. Rotate every time. And then step 3 is to blow and clean up the mess you made from cutting your grass. My grandpa actually bought me this blower that you see in the video. It's a little hand blower and it's perfect for my property. It really was inexpensive. And even with the bag on my Ryobi mower, there are always clippings left on the driveway and sidewalk. That could just be my mower, could be me. But the blower cleans it up in about like 10 minutes. You don't want to be the neighbor leaving grass clippings all over the sidewalk or in another neighbor's area. So just blow it back into the lawn or blow it into a pile that you can sweep up and dispose of accordingly. This 3-step process is the difference between a lawn that looks like you tried and a lawn that looks like you know what you're doing. And then I wasn't going to include this because weeds deserve their own video, but I'm doing you dirty if I didn't at least mention it. Weeds will come, especially in the summer, no matter what you do. They push through concrete. They're not playing any games. My grandpa swore by a vegetation killer, this granule kind that you can spread like fertilizer once a year. I use it, but I also use Roundup. And I'll be honest, I know that Roundup gets a bad reputation, but it works and it does kill weeds, but you need to use quite a bit of it. And you probably need to spray in the summer at least a minimum of 2 to 3 times everywhere, except for your lawn, unless you have Roundup that is the Roundup that just kills the weeds and not the grass. I actually have both. One of the reasons I've realized that my grandpa always had the best yard on the block was because he was consistent. Like, he paid attention and then he took care of what he had. If there was a time where he couldn't do his lawn for maybe months at a time, he never just let the whole thing go to waste. And that kept his lawn in pretty good shape. He taught me that when you work hard for something and you take care of it in the sense of housework and yard work, it helps. You know, also, I'm a single woman out here mowing her own lawn, and I know that probably looks a little different to my neighbors, but honestly, it brings me closer to him. When I'm out here, I hear the jokes he would make. I can hear him, you know, telling me to do this or do that, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. If anything I shared today helped you, drop it in the comments. And if someone taught you how to take care of your home, a grandparent, a parent, whoever, I'd love to hear about them. See you next week.